Hello and welcome to our place in Sicily. Well, we're technically not at our place in Sicily, we're at our temporary place in Sicily. Let's see, if you look over my shoulder, you can see the church. This is the mother church, and our palazzo is right behind there. But that's not what we're going to talk about today. Today we're going to talk about Ferragosto, which is the summer holiday, and also why do I think I can renovate a palazzo? What makes me crazy enough to think I can do this? One of the questions from our viewers, and I'm finally getting around to answer that question as best I can, if there's a good answer. So let's chat. First, let me show you where we are. Okay, again, that is way over there. Is the church right by those clouds, and our house is the palazzo's right behind that, and that's the sea. And if we went all the way around and behind this roof, you would see Etna. We have a little terrazzo on the back of our apartment. We're way up high. This is our temporary home, our Sicilian apartment, while we wait for our project to be done. And today, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do during Ferragosto while we chat. So let me turn this around and we can start our discussion. All right, so this is my sample picture, and I'm painting today. And maybe you never knew I was an artist because I never told you. And why am I painting today? What does this have anything to do with renovating a palazzo? Bear with me, it all will make sense. So Ferragosto happens in August, and essentially I'm painting because it's Ferragosto. I'm painting because I'm trying to assimilate more into the Sicilian way of life, the Italian way of life, and Ferragosto comes from the Ferie Augustus, so the holidays of Augustus. He started them in 1 BCE, and the idea was that workers would wish their employers a bon holiday, good holiday, and then they would get a little tip, a little bonus, a little something. So much so that this actually became sort of Roman law in the Papal States, and then the Catholic Church thought, this is like not a politically motivated, but a political thing and not a religious thing. So we want to move this to the 15th of August instead of the 1st of August. And I think I just messed up. I think it was done in 18 BC on the 1st of August. Yes, that's the answer. And so the Papal States, the Catholic Church, wanted to change it to the 15th, which is the Assumption of Mary, so they can sort of be part of the festivities as well. And then Mussolini in, in the 1920s, decided that he was going to take this and make it something a little different, similar, in the same vein, and wanted sort of lower middle class people to be able to take a vacation. And it went from sort of the 13th, 14th, and 15th. the people could get really affordable plane tickets, not plane tickets, train tickets. So the train holiday, the holiday train was available. And, but so they made it affordable sort of, but room and board weren't included in any of these things that were discounted. And so Italians would picnic during this time. And the idea is that they would go to cultural cities or the seashore or something like that. But it also started the tradition of picnics. And I don't find Italians picnic very much. There seem to be 2 days that they picnic. And this is one of them. And that was just how they made ends meet. So Ferragosto is sort of the 15th. It's sort of the 13th through the 15th. It's sort of the whole month. If you are a business that works with tourism of any kind, you will not close during this time. You will likely close for the holidays right after the Epiphany, which is January 6th until February or March or April, whatever. If you're in tourism, you shut down when the tourists aren't here. But other people pick and choose. So the law office could be closed for the whole month. It could be closed for just 2 weeks, traditionally the 15th for the next 2 weeks. There's so many ways, you just can't count on what it is, except that what you can count on is, at least in Sicily, is no work is going to get done. Our team, our crew at the house is actually on vacation right now for the next 2 weeks. It's what worked out best for them. So they'll overlap into that time. And you just don't plan on coming to Italy and getting any work done at that time. I'm trying to embrace that, and the problem is Matt's inside in his office and he's still working American hours with Americans, and so he can't just take off the month of August. So I'm taking these 2 weeks to have a little fun, to try to find myself here, place myself here, so assimilate in Sicily, but unpack the parts of my stuff that I'm coming with. So painting is one of them. I haven't painted in a long time. I'm a little nervous. I'm working on this canvas, and I'm going to try it with a black gesso. In case any of you out there are artists as well, that's what I'm doing today. I actually think I want to raise this up. And this leads into our next part, which is answering a question a really lovely viewer asked. I'm going to move you around a little bit here so you can see me and this. There we go. Really what this viewer asked was, what made you think this was doable? What made you brave enough to try this? What is your background? Where did you come from? I thought it was a hilarious and lovely and nice and kind question. And so I'm going to try to answer that today. And I know a bunch of you don't like it when I just talk and nothing's going on at the house today. So I'm giving you a little Sicilian ferie show here. So first and foremost, I'm a creative, and Matt is creative. We're both creatives, but entirely different ways. Matt is more like a creative problem solver, and I'm kind of like more of a creative problem maker. I am an out-of-the-box thinker, and Matt helps me solve and figure out how to get back into the box, or how to make the box bigger, or how to ignore the box because it's not a good idea. He's like the yin to my yang, but he studied engineering. He's an engineer, lives, works, breathes the sort of what's the problem and I'm gonna solve it kind of way. And I don't. I've always been on the creative side. Started out the sort of as a writer as I entered college. I exited college as an artist. I went to art school. Worked for myself as a designer. I've written 6 books, creativity books, art how-to books. After that, I started doing some videos and making some products of my own as a designer, and then got a call one day to find out if I was interested in becoming a magazine editor. This is a magazine I had been writing for, but that job just sort of popped into my lap, and I loved it. It's really hard to think about colors and talk at the same time for me. So if all of a sudden you see a strange color on here, don't worry. I've written 6 books. I've taught all over the US. And I really realized at some point I was a storyteller. I left publishing in 2014. I went to a startup institute, sort of like a boot camp for people who want to work in startups. And I knew I always wanted to start my own business. So I first went to work for this marketing research firm, and I worked in sort of, I was a socialization expert. So my colleagues would find insights from the research, and my job was to turn it into a memorable takeaway. I worked with companies like Under Armour, Google, Facebook, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Wells Fargo. In 2 years that I worked there, I worked with 50 different enterprise companies, helping them understand their customer from their customers' words. And that was a fantastic job. But I always knew I was going to start my own job, and one thing led to another as I was trying to figure out what that might be, and I ended up opening a cheese store. Again, what I found in this cheese store is that I am a storyteller. I don't like to keep things to myself. If I learn something new, I want to share it with somebody. I don't really care if it's my name on it. It's just I don't want this idea, this knowledge to go to waste. I wish I'd always known it when I learned something new, and so I am always looking for ways to tell stories, to teach, to make people's lives better. And I designed a cheese store that kind of does that. That's a whole nother discussion about our cheese store and such. From the cheese store, we opened a second business called curdbox.com, which is a cheese and pairing subscription box. And there we tell an edible story every month. We send a box to your house, and I don't want this to be so long, but let's just say in all of these jobs that I've had, I've been very handy. I've been the boss. When something needed to be built, I built it. When something needed to be designed, I designed it. It's not that I don't take no for an answer, but I don't stop because I don't know the answer. I go find the answer. So mix that up with storytelling, and you get sort of what I do business-wise. In the meantime, in 2006, Matt and I moved to essentially a Boston neighborhood called Brookline, Mass. And it's very expensive to live there, but we read reports that the high school was really good, and we had rented there for a year. We loved it, and we tried to find a house. We couldn't afford anything, way out of our price range. So before we gave up on town, we asked the realtor to show us the biggest dump in town, and let me just say, there aren't many. So she showed us an old commercial carriage house. So it wasn't like a carriage house behind a building. It was always used as a carriage house, or from the beginning it was a carriage house. It's built in the 1870s, and then it was used as a carriage house for a grocery store around the corner. So actually horses lived in this. And then after only about 6 years, it was sold to a plumber, and then that plumber, within a decade, had sold it to a roofing company. That roofing company owner sold it to one of his employees, and that employee ran the business and then gave it to his son. And we bought it from his 80-year-old son. So we bought it. It still had horse stalls in the back that the woodworker was using to stretch out woods. The woodworker had was renting the bottom floor, and the roofer was using a little office on the first floor. And then in the 70s, a couple of musicians came by and said, can we turn your upstairs into like a usable space, and can we make it a recording studio? So they said yes. So there was a creepy upstairs recording studio that then they turned into an apartment. That apartment once housed Nelson Mandela's daughter and her husband, the Prince of Swaziland, one of the princes. There were many princes of Swaziland. While they went to university and their kids went to the same elementary school. Also, when it was recording studio, rumors have it that the J. Giles band recorded in there. But this place was a dump by the time we got it. It was a full gut renovation. We dug out, the bottom was just like a 4-foot deep crawl space. And our builder contractor was like, we can scoop out 3 feet and make that another floor. So he got the job. And we converted an entire carriage house from being a garage. It was always a garage. It was always not a living space, to a beautiful living space of about 3,600 square feet, including the finished basement. I love the process. Matt works in software engineering and he works with architectural software. So even though he's not an architect, and doesn't design like an architect, he can actually draw my plans. So he did that, and we loved it. And that was started in 2006, and we have been looking for a place ever since then. Not seriously, but to renovate, because we love the process so much. We're still happily married, so that's kind of it in a nutshell. We've done it once before, and interestingly enough, within our houses, we still don't know how old the palazzo is, but we think they're within like 30 or 40 years of each other. Entirely different built, different construction, different process, different everything. Enough so that we needed an architect here. We're using a designer here. I'm also 17 years older now, so I'm a little more established, and don't have to like bootstrap everything. I can do things a little differently. So we are, and I'm a storyteller. So why we have this channel is really because this is an amazing opportunity that we have. Every day I wake up and I'm thankful that I have this opportunity, and it feels wrong not to share it. It feels, I wouldn't say evil not to share it, but like, it is so exciting. And if I had the opportunity to like look in and see how somebody worked and did this, I would scoop it up. So because I'm a storyteller, I'm sharing the story, but because I'm a creative person who sometimes overthinks things and underthinks things at the same time, I decided it was a great idea to renovate a palazzo, because we had renovated an entire house before and took it down to studs and dirt floor. I was comfortable with that. We've done other little renovation projects, but that was the one closest to this. So I've seen something go from ew to amazing. You know, part of the whole reason we're here in Sicily is to live sort of purposefully, to not just like fade into retirement. And not like weird juju kind of live purposely. I mean, like I'm not just getting up and doing the same thing every day. I'm saying, what do I want to do today? Even if we have to work, it's like, what do we want to do after work? This forces us into new language and new people and new relationships and all that stuff. And we just want to share it all with you. So I hope that answers your question, or questions around like, why did we think we could do this? Also, the house is beautiful, and all I could think of is if we didn't buy this house, if we didn't adopt her, that she would go without parents, and she needed to be adopted. I mean, it's like going to the pound, but for houses. So I don't know. You guys maybe can weigh in at the end of this video or the end of the project and tell us whether we did a good job or not. I would love to know if you've done a big renovation and this sounds also like a fun thing to you, or have you done a big renovation and we're like, I'm never going to do that again. Because Matt and I are just alone here. We're not alone. We have our architect, whatever. But like, imagine you're coming over for cocktails or aperitivo. Tell us your story. Ask us questions. I'll ask you questions back. But that's a little bit about Ferragosto and about why I'm painting on my terrace in the middle of the week, in the middle of the day, and why I was crazy enough to talk Matt into buying a palazzo with me. So until next time, ciao ciao. I gotta get back to painting.